What's going on, guys? Boost Auto here, and today we're going to be showing you how to install our S-Series Cab Lights on your 17 to 22 Super Duty truck that did not originally have cab lights. These lights are unique in that they don't require any square holes like all the other OE and aftermarket options. We're going to give you the template, the wiring, everything you need to install it. It's super easy, so let's get into it.
Introducing our S-Series Cab Lights by Boost Auto. Offered with a wide variety of customizable options, these cab lights are sure to set your build apart from the rest, enhance visibility, and add a premium touch to your vehicle's appearance with our exclusive features. Light up the night with Boost Auto's crisp white or sleek amber running lights that will leave your build looking sharp. You can also option for our jaw-dropping startup sequence, adding personality to your vehicle from the moment you turn the key. Plus, we've developed groundbreaking technology with our S-Series module that enables turn signal functionality without the need to run extra wires up to the cab lights. Get them in a standard flashing signal or option for the more premium sequential signal where the lights swipe instead of flash. The best part is, both styles are available in switchback, so they'll fit right in with the rest of the Boost Auto products on your truck. Our S-Series Cab Lights' innovative construction means you'll get a watertight seal without the need for adhesives or sealants. Plus, with our precision engineering, our cab lights will fit flush perfectly, matching the curvature of your vehicle's roof. Couple things to note before we get into the install. First, the procedure outlined in this video is for 2017 to 2022 Ford Super Duty trucks that did not originally come with factory cab lights. If your vehicle did come with cab lights and you're looking to upgrade, or your vehicle is a different year range, head on over to boostauto.com for the latest in fitment and availability and to purchase all we have to offer. Let's get into it.
All right, before we get into the installation, if you have a sunroof, make sure to roll that all the way back. Put the front driver and passenger seats all the way forward. Then we're going to disconnect the battery. If you have an auxiliary battery, make sure to disconnect that at this time too. All right, now we need to let the headliner drop just a little bit. So we need to remove just some of the front pieces over here. And over here on the passenger side, we're going to start by removing the A-pillar. There's these two covers with some bolts underneath them. We're going to use a pick, pry those out, and then remove the bolts. Once those bolts are removed, you can just pull up on the A-pillar and it will remove. If you do have this tweeter up here on the front of the A-pillar, just depress the tab and unplug it. Then remove the A-pillar. Now we need to remove the sun visor. We'll start by kind of just unfolding it. And on the little retention piece here, there's a 7mm. We'll remove that now. Now over here on the other side of the sun visor, there's a little plastic trim cover. So we'll use a little pick to pop that off. Once you remove that cover, we'll flip that down and it's going to expose a 7mm holding on the visor. Be sure to support the visor when you're releasing this, because if you have illumination in there, there's going to be a connector that you need to unplug. Pull the sun visor straight down and we'll unplug the connector. Once the sun visor comes down, you'll locate the connector. If there's any tape over it, remove that, then depress the tab, unplug the sun visor, and we can set it to the side. All right, now if you have a super high trim truck like a Platinum or something like that, you might have rain sensing wipers. If you have rain sensing wipers, the sensor is going to be right up here near the rear view mirror. There's some covers that need to be removed. They're just held on with trim clips. You would just pull down, those covers would remove. Those do need to be removed just so the headliner can drop. So this lariat that we're working on doesn't have that, but if you do have those, make sure to just pull down on them, they'll remove, and then you can drop the headliner. All the steps on the driver's side are the exact same as the passenger side, so I'm going to do that, and then we'll be right back with you. All right, now that we have the headliner totally loose, there's one more thing kind of holding it in. It's this weather seal right here. We're just going to pull down on that. That way the headliner comes out. You just need to pull it back towards the B-pillar here. We'll do that on the passenger side, and then this headliner should kind of drop down. All right, once you have the weather seals pulled down, you want to make sure it's kind of free of the side view mirror here. There's sometimes some clips, just kind of pull down. Now, depending on your setup, you may have enough drop in the headliner without removing these B-pillars to where you can install the cab lights. If you feel like you need a little bit more room, we can just remove these B-pillars. It's not too difficult. It's going to give you some more drop in your headliner. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove this grab handle. There's some plastic covers. We'll remove those, and then we'll remove the two 7mm bolts. Next, we're just going to loosen up this lower B-pillar. It's just held on with some trim clips. We don't need to fully remove it. going to take our hands and just securely pull back. Then we need to remove the seatbelt tensioner here. There's a little tab on the bottom side, so we're going to take a straight pick and we're going to come up and we're just going to pry up on that tab while pulling out on this cover, and it will release. So you can see there's just this tab right here. I was pressing up on it to disengage it.
Now we'll remove the seatbelt with a T50 Torx.
Now for removing this upper B pillar, it's good to use a trim tool to remove it. That way you don't mar up any of the plastics. We offer these trim tools on our site. They're a really handy tool. If you don't have a set, I highly recommend you pick up a set. We're gonna take the trim tool and we're gonna pry out. There's some plastic clips all around it. Once we pry out, it's gonna come down. Once that upper B pillar is removed, we're just gonna pull down on the weather seal a little bit here, just to give us a little bit more drop in the headliner. Now I'm going to repeat those steps over there on the passenger side, removing that upper B pillar, and then we'll be right back with you. All right, here we have the provided template laid out. This is unique in that it cuts into 3 individual pieces, so it lays nicely on the roof. We're going to start by cutting it down into its 3 sections, then we'll cut each template out. Alrighty, now that we have the templates cut into their individual sections, some locations on these templates have these dashed lines. So you can see here it says cut for curvature relief. Since the roof's not flat, we're just going to cut to the end of that dashed line. Anywhere you see that dashed line, that way it lays a little bit better on the roof panels. We'll do that on all 3 templates here. Now that we've got our templates cut out, it's time to get them on the roof, so let's get into it. All right, now we need to find the center point of your windshield. Now some windshields have a mark exactly where the center point is. That can be helpful, but I always recommend double checking it with a tape measure. So you can see, since it's just me, I just used a piece of tape to tape it down on the other side. I'm gonna get my full length measurement. I'm gonna divide it by 2, and then I'm gonna place a piece of painter's tape right here in the middle of the windshield, exactly where that center point is. So I'm gonna put a piece of tape right here, found that center point. I'm just gonna mark it with a Sharpie. All right, now it's time to line up our template. We're gonna start with the center, the bigger one. This arrow right here lines up with the center point you just marked on your windshield. Then, this front piece here kind of matches the curvature of the roof. So you wanna make sure you get this nice and in line with the curvature of the roof, that way all your holes are square. And the arrow lined up with the dead center here. Then we're gonna use some painter's tape and secure the template down. Then for these side templates, the front arrow is going to face the front of the windshield. We're going to line the curvature up with the front of the windshield. The side here is going to follow the curvature of the roof over here. And we'll secure this template down with some painter's tape.
Then, go ahead and continue on the passenger side.
All right, now that we have our templates taped down across the roof, we need to mark where we're going to drill. So you can see the template kind of outlines that. I like to use this spring-loaded center punch. This is not necessary, but it kind of helps guarantee success. What we're gonna do is we're gonna line up the center punch with where we're going to put our drill, and we're gonna center punch the entire roof.
Center punch the remaining templates across the rest of the roofs.
All right, now that we've center punched the entire roof, it's time to drill a pilot hole for every single place that we're gonna drill at. We're gonna drill an 1/8 inch pilot hole in all 3 locations. So we're gonna line an 1/8 inch drill bit up with all the areas we center punched and drill. We're gonna do that across the entire roof.
Continue to drill all the pilot holes on the remaining templates.
All right, now that we've drilled our 1/8 inch pilot holes across the entire roof, we'll remove all the templates. All right, before we get into finishing the drilling, we like to take some painter's tape and just go over the holes that were previously drilled just to kind of protect the paint when we're drilling. Then take a little pick or something and poke out the holes so you know exactly where your drill bit needs to end up. I'm gonna do that across the entire roof, and I'll be right back with you to finish up the drilling on the roof here. All right, now when you're drilling out the rest of these holes, the front and rear hole for all the cab lights needs to be drilled out to a 1/4 inch. So I'm gonna take a 1/4 inch drill bit and drill the front and rear hole to a 1/4 inch. The center is gonna be a different size, so we'll come back to that later. All right, now for the center of all the cab lights, we need a little bit of a bigger hole to fit the connector in. We're gonna use a step bit and drill the center hole to a 5/8 inch hole across the entire roof. All right, with all our holes drilled, I'm gonna remove all the tape on the roof, clean up the roof, and then it's gonna be time to mount our S-Series cab lights. Now that we've drilled out all our holes, we're just gonna use our preferred cleaner, clean down the roof, that way our cab lights have a nice clean mounting surface. All right, now the fun part. It's time to install your S-Series cab lights. Now before we get into that, I wanna point something out. When I open the package here, you'll notice these cab lights are labeled 1 through 5. So you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These cab lights have a very specific position on the roof. Cab light number 1 is going to go on the far passenger side, and cab light 5 is going to go on the driver's side. Make sure you get these in the right location when you're installing them. In addition to the packaging, the cab lights are also labeled on the bottom side. All right, starting with cab light number 1, unthread the nuts from the studs so that we can install it into the roof. Drop the cab light into position, and just by hand, reach under and thread the nuts on. We'll repeat that across the roof. 1 here on the passenger side, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the driver's side. Install your cab lights on your truck now. Then take an 8mm and snug the nuts up from the bottom side with a 1/4 inch ratchet.
Then, go ahead and finish tightening down all the cab lights by hand, making sure not to over tighten.
It's time to install our retrofit harness into the vehicle. The retrofit harness has a connector for each of the cab lights. Find the end of it with the connector. That's going to plug into the driver's side. So we're going to start on the driver's side with the dead end. We're going to move across, and we're going to end up bringing the end of the harness down the passenger side A-pillar. Now we need to route this wire down the passenger side A-pillar here. You can see there is an airbag here, so we want to closely tie this to the factory wiring harness, making sure it stays clear of the airbag. So I'm just going to route this along the factory wiring right down the A-pillar, securing it with some zip ties. All right, now before we finish routing our wire down the dash, we need to remove a trim cover down here. That way we can get the wire when it passes down. So if you take a look straight down here, we have this trim panel here. There's a little cutout here at the back. You can just reach your fingers in, pull it away, and it will remove. All right, now it's time to fish the wire down to the bottom side of the dash. To do that, we're gonna use a straightened out metal piece. In this case, this is a coat hanger we've just straightened out, but any metal piece will work. And what we're gonna actually do is tape the wires to the end of it with some electrical tape, just so we can fish it down. Then we're gonna take the straightened out metal piece, we're gonna come up to the front side of the dash, there's some insulation here. We're gonna carefully route it down, making sure not to rub it on the windshield. And that should pop out down under the dash. We'll pull it through so we get our wiring harness straight down. So we'll locate our wire that pokes through down here. We'll continue guiding this metal piece in with the wiring harness attached to it. Pull it straight down under the dash. And then the metal piece will come through, the wire attached to it. Just guide it all straight on down. Once you get the wire pulled down, we'll just remove our electrical tape and disconnect the harness from the straightened out metal piece. All right, now that we have that wire down here at the passenger side lower dash, that's actually going to be where the wire is going to end. So in this case, we have a little bit of extra wire here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my electrical multi-tool, I'm going to cut it. I'm just giving us a little bit of extra length here. That's going to be just enough to tap to all those wires. Once we do that, we're going to use some small scissors or something to just get access to the individual wires. And once you have the wires separated like that, we'll use an electrical multi-tool and strip the blue and black wires. Now we need to unplug this connector right here on the body control module. It's the third one up. To do that, you're going to depress this latch and slide the white lock back at the same time. Now once we've kind of snaked the connector out, we need to get this connector cover over so we can access the wires. To begin, there's a zip tie right here. I'm going to take some side cutters and carefully cut that and remove the zip tie. Now to finish removing this connector cover, slide the white latch all the way down. And there's a little tab right here. You're going to press on that tab with a pick, and the connector should kind of lift up and off.
For this install, we're going to be using Boost Auto's S-Series module for both running light only and turn signal applications. So, with your S-Series module out of the box, we can connect the 2-pin harness with the red and black wires and the 4-pin harness with the orange, red and blue, and red and green wires. Now measure out 18 inches or so of both the red and black wires. Cut them to length. After you strip back each end, install the fuse provided in your kit onto the red wire via the butt connector. Then attach a spade terminal on the other end of the fuse and onto the black wire. Now go ahead and heat shrink the butt connector. Cut back the orange wire to the same length as the red and black wires. Strip back the end and crimp on a spade terminal. If you purchased an option with turn signal, cut back the red and green and red and blue wires. Strip back the end and crimp on a spade terminal. If you purchased running light only, cut back the red and green and red and blue wires and tape them out of the way.
All right, now that we have our S-Series module fully ready to install, notice there's an output side here with this solid blue and solid black wire. This couldn't get any more straightforward. You're going to connect the solid blue from your S-Series module to the solid blue on your retrofit harness. Slide it into the butt connector and crimp it down. Then for the solid black wire from your retrofit harness, you'll take that, install it into the black wire on your S-Series module, and crimp it down. Once you have those installed, you'll take a heat gun and heat shrink the butt connectors. Now we need to add a T-tap onto the wires in pin 6 and pin 12. So we're going to locate pin 6, and we'll install the T-tap onto it. You want to install it pretty far down, that way it has room for the connector cover to snap back on. Then locate the wire in pin 12. Pull it out of the loom a little bit, and we'll install a red T-tap onto that. Okay, now that we've connected to the wires at pin 6 and pin 12, we need to add a T-tap to the wire at pin 29. In this case, pin 29 has 2 wires going to it. You can tap to either one of them. Now we'll begin connecting the input wires from our S-Series module. The solid red wire with the fuse connected to it is going to connect to the T-tap at pin 29. So we'll slide the disconnect into the T-tap, slide the disconnect forward. Then, the solid black wire is going to connect to the wire at pin 6. Finally, the orange wire is going to connect to the wire at pin 12. With those 3 wires hooked up, it's time to reinstall your connector. We need to start by reinstalling this connector cover. So it just kind of latches towards the back and then snaps down towards the front. Once you have it snapped towards the front, we just need to replace the zip tie. So you can route the zip tie through. Make sure you grab all the wires within the zip tie. And then bring the zip tie back on up and secure the zip tie. Finally, we'll reinstall the connector. When reinstalling the connector, make sure this white latch is flipped down. Once you have it lined up and start pushing it in, if it's lined up properly, this white latch will grab, and when you fold it back, it'll latch it fully into place. All right, for those of you gaining the turn signal functionality, this section is going to be for you. This is going to detail how to install the turn signal function working on your cab lights.
Next, we're going to be tapping at this connector for turn signals. Using either your fingers or a pick tool, press the connector tab in and pull down on the gray latch to release the connector. Now, release the connector cover by cutting this zip tie and removing it. Press on the two tabs on the back of the connector and pull the cover off. You can see the two connector tabs in this close-up, here and here. To help gain access to the wires, cut back some of the tape. We're now going to be tapping to pins 38 and 39. When looking at the connector, you can see that it's numbered 31 to 40, so pins 38 and 39 will be the first and second pins from the left. Now install a T-tap onto the wire in pin 39. Now take the red and blue wire that we crimped a spade connector on and install it on the T-tap on the wire in pin 39. Now install a T-tap onto the wire in pin 38. Now take the red and green wire that we crimped a spade connector on and install it on the T-tap on the wire in pin 38. Next, we can now put the cover back onto the connector. Just slide the connector into the cover and secure it with a zip tie. Then, reinstall the connector by lining it up, pushing it back into place, and flipping up the gray tab to secure it.
Now that we have all of our wiring complete, just go ahead and tie up all your wiring, free of any heat, moving components, secured up nicely. Then we just need to reinstall our BCM cover. So that's just going to kind of latch in and fold back. Now that we have the wiring out of the way, we just need to reassemble the interior. We'll get into that now. All right, we'll begin by placing our B-pillar back into position. We'll slide the lower B-pillar back and the upper B-pillar up. Now we'll grab our T50 Torx and reinstall the seat belt. Then we'll snap the lower B-pillar back into position. Make sure it slides behind the weather seal here. Now we'll snap the cover back into the seatbelt cover. Now we'll install this upper grab handle. Bring it into position, then reinstall the two 7mm bolts. Then snap the covers back into position.
Next, reinstall the weather stripping around the door.
Now before we finish up front, kind of push the headliner up into place and bring the weather seal all along, reinstalling it. That's going to kind of hold the headliner up for you. Now it's time to reinstall the A-pillar. Don't forget, if you have a tweeter, make sure to plug that back in. Once you have the tweeter plugged back in, there's some tabs down here at the front that need to slide into position. Begin by doing that. Then bring the tabs over here on the A-pillar into position. Slide it up, it should clip in. Then we'll replace the two 10mm bolts. Finally, snap the covers back into position. Now we'll start by reinstalling the sun visor retainer. Bring the sun visor retainer back into position. When you're doing this, you'll have to kind of push up on the headliner a bit, and you'll reinstall the 7mm bolt. Finally, bring the sun visor back into position. If you have lights on it, make sure to clip the connector back in. You'll push the connector back up into the headliner area. Now there is a hook on this right here. So what you need to do is hook it back, then slide it up. Once that's into position, I like to clip it into the other side to help support it, and we'll reinstall the 7mm bolt. Finally, snap the cover back into position. Now I'm going to repeat those steps on the passenger side, exact same as the driver's side. Once you're done with that, if you do have the rain sensing wipers and you had to remove those trim covers behind the mirrors, make sure to snap those back into position. Up last, we'll reconnect the negative terminal on the battery. If you have an auxiliary battery, make sure to reconnect that at this time too. All right, that wraps up the installation of our S-Series cab lights on this 17 to 22 Super Duty that did not originally have cab lights. If you'd like to pick up a set of those S-Series cab lights, these matching mirror marker lights, or any other awesome products for your truck or SUV, check out our website at boostauto.com. To catch more videos like this, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's all for now. We'll catch you in the next one.
The products shown in this video and so much more can be purchased on our website at boostauto.com. We're proud to offer a wide variety of products, parts, and accessories for your truck or SUV that will take your build to the next level. To watch more videos like this one and to find out about our newest innovative products for your vehicle, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's all for now. We'll catch you in the next one.